Buddhas and Demons. A lesson on dark energy. When facing the experience of various entities which are non-physical, we need to first let go of all superstitions. Many phenomena have been labeled in various ways during the course of human experience. Human beings have a tendency, when not having faced non-physical experience directly, but hearing of the experiences of others, to twist and distort the original accounts of such encounters. And even the primary sources, those who attempt to translate these experiences into a conceptual framework, are already downgrading the complexity of the information compared to how it was presented through a direct encounter. As light can be filtered through a prism and split into its aspects, all experiences are filtered through the prism of our beliefs or thought matrix. And even then, we might only focus on certain aspects we deem important and forget to mention other frequencies of light, therefore failing to share the complete information. Most of the encounters humans might initially have are encounters with inner demons, shadow aspects of the psyche, authentic parts of us disowned by the establishment of ego through trauma. The mystic faces those shadows lovingly and attempts integration. From the egoic perspective, these shadows appear devilish, since embracing them would lead to healing, wholeness, and an increase in energy. The rejection of our wholeness by society caused the initial trauma. Suppression of the self in childhood or during teenage years by society, especially when the self expresses advanced thinking, knowledge, or energy, could not yet be accepted by the collective human psyche. When a not yet fully formed personality, with access to soul knowledge, experiences rejection and violence because of this inner truth, it leads to the birth of the ego, the false self, carried around like a shield that imprisons all authenticity. These shadow aspects are not demons, for example, negatively polarized entities, but soul aspects in need of acknowledgement. Yet, unacknowledged shadows may be used by actual demonic forces to gain entry into your psyche, penetrating low-frequency openings in your aura. It is essential to demystify demonic entities, for their false power lies in deluding the subject. They hold no true power to begin with. We are not dealing with realms that are incomprehensible. We are dealing with another level of physics. These are dimensions close to the human realm, which interact with us through thought, energy, and emotion, but rarely have any noticeable physical impact. For those with astral sight, seeing such entities is as common as seeing mosquitoes, tapeworms, ticks, or fleas. In fact, demonic involvement in human affairs is not special or unique, but common. These beings act as energy parasites, thriving in the energetic shadows. Most humans are surrounded by negatively polarized entities, striving for maximum separation from source intelligence. This means intensifying selfishness and a rejection of compassion, union, and empathy. These beings have blocked their own access to source energy, the heart center. Hence the phrases, "He has no heart," "His heart is cold," or "Her heart is black." These are unconscious references to the atrophying of the heart chakra. In contrast, we say, "She has a heart of gold," which refers to a heart full of light. Unable to receive source energy directly via the heart, these entities pretend to be separate from source, even though they still consist of it. Since they cannot replenish themselves, they attempt to extract energy from those who do have access. Picture a spoiled young man living off his father's fortune while resenting him. That is the dynamic. Human society, collectively, has not yet evolved to love fully. Biases, belief systems, and egocentric perspectives are still widely held. When a human being is born, it is unlikely that they will be fully loved as the soul they truly are. Most humans, therefore, experience trauma, the experience of not being fully accepted as a representation of I am, the source self. Because of this trauma, the false self, the ego, the version that society approves of, replaces the authentic soul self. This often requires one to lower their energy just to fit in. Picture this. A freedom-loving soul is born into a female body. Her father, holding conservative beliefs, views her expressions of freedom, such as sexual autonomy, as bad. To be loved by him, she must deny her inner truth and become the good girl. That ego identity suppresses her freedom, lowers her frequency, and makes her vulnerable to energetic manipulation by negative entities. When we understand that all experiences are frequency-based, we realize that demonic entities cannot reach us if our frequency is too high. Trauma causes our frequency to drop, making us susceptible to their influence. A large part of the mystic's path involves disidentifying from thought. Realize that your mind is a receiver, interpreting various frequencies into thought forms. Your mind is an arena where many forces are at play. Some are benevolent and assist you in awakening. Others offer you unloving beliefs, identities that lower your vibration. If you accept those unloving beliefs, you start to feel fear, guilt, jealousy, shame, and so on. These emotions are energy, and negatively polarized entities feed on that energy. To them, you are a potential host. They don't want you to become aware of their presence. They want you to identify with the thoughts they implant, so you generate emotions they can digest. Think of it like the cuckoo bird that lays its eggs in another bird's nest. You end up nourishing what isn't yours. A parasite thrives when you don't notice it. Mosquitoes bite while you sleep. Ticks hide in the fur of an animal. Demons support your ego, because your ego ensures suffering, and suffering ensures energy generation. If you're on the verge of an ego death, they panic. You may feel your mind turning violent, chaotic. That's them reacting. Because if you awaken, they lose their supply. Those with lower astral sight can confirm demons are everywhere, just like parasites in nature. If you're new to these perceptions, your first response might be fear. But you are an eternal being untouched by such games. Your greatest strength is to love, to feel compassion, to send these entities loving thoughts. Wish them peace, wish them liberation. High-frequency love is indigestible to them. They either transform or leave. Never fight them. Conflict increases separation, and that strengthens both them and your ego. But do not become prideful either, for arrogance opens the door again. More direct tantric methods are to be left to those who have gone through proper initiations and are expressing the direct will of God. Respect all forces in nature, even those of darkness and ignorance, but reject their offers of false identity and unloving thought. Focus not on what you don't want, but on what you do want. The universe does not register not. It reads where your attention goes, and therefore your energy follows. If you say, I don't want demons, but feel fear, then fear is your signal, and you attract them. Instead, focus on light, on presence, on love. Hold these thoughts steadily, like a candle flame undisturbed by panic. Breathe calmly. Trust your inner stillness. Know thyself. Love thyself. And the masters of delusion cannot keep you in their web. Master Saint Germain. The initiate mystic is capable of directing forces, transforming incoming energies that carry ill intent, and generating protective fields through intention and visualization. But for most, simply focusing on love and loving intention is enough. This opens the door for higher intelligence to step in, should the guardians of man deem it appropriate. Nights of encounters. The mystic, sooner or later, will consciously encounter negatively polarized entities, for his very nature is to be a light upon the world. An awakening experience is often followed by the intruding of entities. Understand that most human beings exist in lower energy states. Once a mystic awakens, his or her energy frequency begins to increase. This increase is witnessed from the astral plane. The mystic begins to stand out like a lighthouse in a stormy night. This will attract the attention of a variety of beings. Many beings will be of a benevolent nature, but also saboteurs, intruders, and the needy will be attracted. For the mystic, who is not surrounded by elder teachers, this can be a time of great confusion, for he might experience himself to be overwhelmed by the impressions of an other-dimensional nature. This poses a great strain on the nervous system, which needs to be weathered like a storm. Such a storm can last for weeks, sometimes months. This is the critical moment where those who fall into a state of fear develop what the modern psychiatrist labels psychosis or schizophrenia, which is a failed awakening attempt and causes further trauma and complications. The mystic who weathers the storm will be reborn to a deeper understanding of reality, and therefore conscious connection with forces of higher intelligence will be established. This includes conscious contact with one's very own soul, for the master has been waiting to awaken to himself. Buddhahood. Buddhahood knows no demons and no angels. Buddhas do not see other. They only see themselves in any phenomenon and understand that all phenomena exist within the psyche of the Godhead, as the whole universe is the psyche of God. While Buddhas see no difference, their very presence is unifying. Since they see demonic forces not as other, they are not in a state of conflict and love equally all that is. Demons fear the very presence of such a master, for his composure is unwavering, and their very contact with such a being would return them to conscious union with source energy. Therefore, a Buddha has transcended all ideas of fighting. Light and dark do not appear to him as conflicting existences, but as an interplay of forces which brings dynamic into the universe. Antagonist, protagonist, light and dark, up and down, black and white are merely distortions of the reality of union into aspects of experience. For a Buddha knows all to be himself. All suffering ceases within the master. Dark energy. To attain liberation, the mystic needs to integrate his shadow to end polarity within himself, so he begins vibrating closer to source energy. Dark energy is unseen or unacknowledged soul energy. If this energy is not integrated, it will make us trip up through pain and struggle, so we become aware of it. Demonic forces use the Jungian shadow as an entry point for manipulation. When you understand this thoroughly, even their manipulation attempts can lead to great wisdom. Once you are faced with thought forms consisting of unloving beliefs which are invading your mind, some of these are demonic attempts to tip you out of balance, you can come quickly to an understanding that you only react to them because you believe them. This means that you have some ego structure that is judging you and prevents shadow integration. A demon can only find an entry where you do not love yourself. In that sense, even demonic attacks can serve as a reverse compass through which you indirectly find out where to focus your attention. If a negatively polarized entity calls you telepathically a loser, then you know you suffer from the delusion that you have failed. Undo the egoic belief of failure and you increase in energy. If forces call you a fat pig, begin accepting the body illusion. Or if something calls you a pervert, make peace with your sexual desires. Even though all desires and attachments need to be ultimately overcome to achieve full liberation, accepting their existence brings you one step closer to transcending them. Therefore, meeting demonic entities can serve as a fast track to self-realization, for they will make you conscious of where you do not accept yourself fully, and which surely is not their intention, but hopefully coming to consciousness is yours.
Dear beautiful souls, I'm Julian, the creator of this content. If you enjoy my work and you consider supporting me, please subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. It really makes a difference. If you are curious about the spiritual methods that I have been practicing, that earned me access to the information presented to you on this channel, you may want to consider booking a private session with me. If you want to support me in a more direct way, there's also a PayPal donation link in the description below the video. All donations support me in my spiritual life, so I have time for meditations and yogic practices. But they also support the street animals that we have adopted in Peru and provide for their nutritional and potential medical needs. Furthermore, they may pave the way for the construction of a future monastery in the sacred valley of Peru. Thank you for watching. Be well.